Hello and welcome to Find Out Nation. I'm one of your hosts, Jamie.
And I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
And we're here to talk about what happens when a nation fucks around. They find out.
Yes.
This has been quite the fuck around and find out weekend.
Jesus
We've
Christ.
had a lot going on.
Yes.
A lot of changed policies. A lot of flip-flopping opinions. A lot of hypocritical contradictions.
Yes.
With all that said, let's start with our countdown.
Countdowns.
Yes.
We have 496 days till the midterms. We are under 500 days.
Thank God.
Hallelujah.
Under 500. I
Under
feel better.
500.
496 is only see, again, we talk about how I can convince myself of anything. 496 is only 100 and change above a year.
That's true. Yes.
We're so close. We're so close.
We're getting there.
And 100 is nothing. 100 days are nothing. So we're good.
Exactly.
That's exciting. Okay.
Yeah. We're
and how many days since the orange?
Yes. Menace, 155 days.
The regime change. Since we're talking about regime changes this week, we'll talk about the regime change. How many was it? Did you say
155?
That's a lot. That's not insignificant.
Not nothing. Yeah.
It's not nothing. Exactly right. I feel like we're
almost 5 months in.
We're almost 5 months in before we raged a war, which now that I say it that way, I'm like, ooh.
That's a little rough. Yeah. Before we attacked a country that wasn't attacking us in any way whatsoever.
Without congressional. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now maybe I'm like, okay, we should have been at least a year in before we just started attacking other countries.
You'd like to think so. You'd like to think so.
You would like to think so. Okay. Well, that got real depressing real fast. Okay. So tonight it is the New York City mayoral election that is going on as we are speaking.
That's right.
We're keeping an eye on this election and we'll talk about it at the end of the election because it's one of the first times that we're really seeing a national election where there's a old party Democrat, Andrew Cuomo, is running against someone who identifies as a democratic socialist and has a very socialist platform. And that's Zoran Mamdani. So we'll see what happens between the two of them. I'm hoping that we have some direction by the time we get to the end of this podcast. So we'll revisit where we are in that election by the end of the podcast. But Nicole and I were just talking about how this could indicate a shift of whether or not an actual socialist with the socialist agenda could get elected. So maybe one of those first indicators that we could see. Anyway.
Yeah.
But the biggest news by far recently,
yes,
which it's only the biggest news because we did it as a distraction from all the other news.
All the other bullshit.
That's right. Is the bombing of, to your point, a country that has not waged war on us. So, 12 days ago, if I remember correctly, on June 13th. So it's been longer than that. It's 11 days, right? 12,
I think is something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's June 13th. Israel launched a surprise barrage of attacks on sites in Iran. They did it justifying it by saying that Iran had nuclear weapons. Trump has continued to use the narrative that Iran has nuclear weapons or they're on the brink of nuclear weapons to justify allowing Israel's attacks on Iran, discussing the possibility of killing their leader. They're talking about the regime change over there. And this weekend, we took the strong action to bomb Iran in an attempt to bomb their nuclear sites. Number one, the claim that they have nuclear weapons or on the verge of nuclear weapons. Do you watch Jon Stewart?
I mean, not religiously, no. Okay. So I haven't seen any clips I'm sure he's done them, but I haven't seen anything yet.
So he has been talking about several leaders who have been discussing the possibility of Iran having nuclear weapons since 2018, if not longer than that. They keep claiming they're on the verge.
Iran's always the boogeyman.
Indeed. Trump's own military intelligence came out and said Tulsi Gabbard, in no uncertain terms, said they don't have nuclear weapons. Like, yes, they have. They could always build them, of course.
Yeah,
but they don't have nuclear weapons. What did Trump say?
He stood on Air Force One and said, "She's wrong. I don't believe her. I believe that they have weapons." But based on what? We talked about this last week. Based on what? He has obviously based on Israel's intelligence community, not our own.
That's right. And now we are using it to wage war.
As a justification for dropping bombs on 3 different sites in Iran.
Without any congressional approval.
Yep.
Without defending his reason why or providing any proof.
Yep.
Without going to Congress after the fact and being like, hey, we bombed them. This is what happened. Blah, blah, blah. Nope. None of that.
Yep.
I would venture to say, of all the things that Trump has done, like the sheer audacity, the fucking audacity of this guy to just be like, I wanted to bomb him, so I bombed him. What's your problem? And to just make up the reason why we do it is absolutely fucking astounding to me.
Well, and here's what really fucking kills me, because they attempted to impeach him today.
I know.
And what kills me is that only 79 of the House Democrats stood with Al Green for it. And the rest of the Democrats are livid at the unseriousness of this impeachment. And I'm like, at least he's fucking doing something.
At least he's doing something.
Yes, what he did, to your point, is the fucking balls on this guy. Like, we all knew going into this presidency, he felt like he had nothing to lose. He didn't have to answer to anybody. He could be as unhinged as he fucking wanted to because he never had to run for president again. Yeah. So that's why he has checked the powers of the courts, the powers of our Constitution, everything, the entire, not even 5 months he's been in office. And the fucking Democrats just stand around and wring their hands.
And that's the thing, is that, to your point, if every Democrat had united and said this person should absolutely be impeached, you could feel at least a little bit of vindication. Like, we tried. But the fact, to your point, that Democrats, only 79 stood with them is just absolutely fucking astounding. You should be embarrassed. You should be ashamed of yourself if you did not at least say, you know what, someone has to check his power. Someone has to check his power.
Yeah. And I just, like, I find it interesting because I, like, my shit's just, like, on this is just, like, one long continuous, like, stream of conscious. Yeah. But it is insane to me that he just put all of our lives in danger just so that he could feel like a strong man, just so he could feel important about bombing another country. Because now we are always going to have to worry about, which we always have to, right? Ever since, I mean, we always have to, but now it will be, because this quote from Iran after we bombed them, it is what, you know, like, this is what really pisses me off about the whole thing. Hold on. I'm trying to find So Iran sent 6 missiles to our military bases in Qatar on Monday, stating on their state TV that it was a mighty and successful response to America's aggression. The Iranian president stated, "We neither initiated the war nor are seeking it, but we will not leave invasion to the great Iran without answer."
Yeah.
Like,
well, to your point, I was thinking so if you guys notice I'm fancier than I normally am today, it's because I had to go into the office. As I was showering this morning, I was thinking, if there's a nuclear attack, you're not supposed to use conditioner in your hair. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
And
I use conditioner every day.
So when I found that out the first time, was the first Trump presidency. Because remember, we had we were on the verge of nuclear issues back then. Yes. Even though he calls himself the peace president and has said he
ran, right? On no wars.
Yes.
We were only going to have wars if we put Kamala in the White House, if I recall correctly.
You are recalling correctly. That's exactly what he said. So here's what's great about this. So not only do we not believe our intelligence that they didn't have nuclear weapons, the 3 nuclear
sites,
repositories, that we bombed, that Trump is now claiming has wiped out all of their
completely obliterated.
Yes.
Did
are saying they maybe delayed their nuclear program by 8 months. 3 to 8 months.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to say the assessment that came out late this afternoon that I saw was like maybe a couple of months. But Caroline, don't you worry. Ultimate Pick Me, Caroline Levitt, has made her statement, and she's very upset at these low-level losers that leaked.
Is that what she said?
Yeah, that's her official statement. Yeah.
No, it's not.
She called the assessment flat out wrong and accused a low-level loser in the intelligence community of leaking it. She defended the mission, emphasizing that dropping 14 30,000-pound bombs results in total obliteration. Well, no, it doesn't.
No.
And you gave them so much warning. So
I heard this too.
Like all the warning that he kept giving them, that I'm like,
That's right. Because he kept posting on X.
Yeah.
That they actually had time to move
all their shit,
all of their most critical pieces out of their nuclear, facilities into different facilities so that they would all be protected. So to your point, even if you flattened the fucking building, you didn't do enough because they had moved all the most important stuff out of there anyway. For fuck's sake. Are you kidding me?
And I had seen something, and again, don't know how true this is because I don't know how I would necessarily verify it. I'm sure you could Google it, but I didn't. But the bunker buster bombs that we have are only good up to 200 feet below ground. And Fordo is like 250, 275 below ground. So it was never really going to fully
do anything anyway.
All the way down. But it's interesting to me that that his like. So when I was cleaning bathrooms on Sunday, I was listening to MSNBC, and I was listening to Hegseth and Kane like live doing their live reporting or whatever after the attack on Saturday.
Where Hegseth says they've been obliterated or whatever.
Yes. And then Kane's having to like walk it back. And he's like, well, I mean, it's going to be days to weeks to months before we can fully know how much damage we did to them. How are you ever going to verify it? It's not like Iran's going to let you bring people in to verify that. Like, no. How are you ever going to verify that?
You're not. And what's great about it, of course, is like now when Iran doesn't release any nukes in the next several years, Trump's going to be like, I did that. You're welcome. If I hadn't done that, they would have nukes probably right now, but I took care of it. So you're welcome. Even though everyone in the intelligence community says they weren't anywhere near, and they still aren't. And you didn't do anything, like nothing that you did was helpful.
Right.
But sure, you do you.
Well, and then he's out here this morning throwing the F-bomb around on live TV because he's all mad about the ceasefire. And I'm like, oh my God.
So that was the other thing.
If we had just minded our fucking business.
I know.
None of this, but to your point, he's trying to distract from all the other things.
Well, and he's mad because his military parade was such a failure. So we're going to show what kind of like military presence we have. We're gonna be a kid with his toys, and we're gonna we're gonna show people when nobody showed up at our birthday party. To your point, like at the end of the day, I mean, there's no way to, the way that you say or prove that someone doesn't have nuclear weapons is by the intelligence community going over there and spying and finding out that they don't have. So there's no way to prove this beyond the way that we have always traditionally approved, right? Like, so this idea that now there's going to be some other like, oh, here's an easy way for us to all know, like, it's just insanity to me. Yeah. It's just insanity to me. Yeah. So we're now off bombing. He put in a ceasefire this morning. He said he gave the ceasefire to both Israel and Iran, but then Israel this morning did like bomb some people afterwards. Yeah. And he lost his fucking mind and just went nuts. That's when he dropped the F-bomb. Yeah. On national TV, which I love. Yes. And they finally stopped, and it was whatever it was. But at the end of the day, yes, it was quite the spectacle for sure. Yeah. The other major thing about this is that hardly anyone supports this. Right. A CBS poll. So I went out and looked at CNN, and CNN, of course, their polls are whatever. But I get the fact that like there's a reason I look at CNN. But CBS did a poll, and 56% of respondents disapprove of the strikes. the only people that supported the strikes were MAGA. Everyone else was like, I don't support these strikes.
Yeah.
And so like 56% of people are saying you need to be concentrating at stuff at home. You need to be, taking care of shit at home. Mm-hmm. We have too much shit going on. You have to be taking care of the shit. And nope, we're going to go bomb the shit out of someone, even though they have not attacked us without congressional approval.
Yeah. And I still feel like even within MAGA, it's divided them. I mean, we've all seen the clips by now of Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz.
Did we talk about that on the last one?
No, because I think it happened afterwards.
So for those of you who have not seen it, although if you are at all watching our podcast, I can't imagine you have not seen this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ted Cruz and Tucker Carlson go at it in an interview where Tucker Carlson is pissed at Ted Cruz for not knowing anything about Iran, even though Ted Cruz wants to bomb Iran.
Yes. And I hate that
Donald Trump knows the population of Iran?
No, he doesn't know the demographic of Iran. He doesn't know any of it. And he doesn't care. And neither does Ted Cruz.
And Tucker Carlson absolutely lost his shit on Ted Cruz about it. Do you think Tucker Carlson would ever do the same thing to Donald Trump? Absolutely not.
No.
Same with he's like, what's the religious spread? What's the cultural differences there? And Ted Cruz starts to talk about it, and Tucker Carlson jumps all over him. You don't know anything about Iran. Clearly you don't know anything about the country you want to bomb.
Well,
how could you? And it gets so contentious.
Yeah. And I thought it was interesting that Ted Cruz invoked the Bible like they're known to do. And he wants to invoke Genesis and how it says in Genesis that we are to defend Israel. And Tucker Carlson is just being Tucker Carlson. Like he's a smart ass, and he's just a fucking douche. And so he's not acting any different than he always does. He's just doing it to people that are not used to being on the receiving end of it. And Ted Cruz, he's saying to Ted Cruz, so the Bible says that we're supposed to defend the Israeli government. And he's like, no, it says that we're supposed to defend Israel. And he's like, that's not the same thing as the Israeli government. Like, you're bombing is you're actually defending the Israeli government to bomb Iran. You're not defending Israel as a country, and you know nothing about Israel as a country, and you don't fucking care to, So it's comical to watch it, but I see it for what it is. It's not that for me anyway, watching it, I'm like, it's not that Tucker Carlson all of a sudden has a deep-seated
conscious,
for Israel or Iran or anything else. You know what I mean? He saw an opportunity to, make Ted Cruz look like a fucking fool, and he went for it because he doesn't probably agree with, at the end of the day, he probably doesn't agree with us bombing when we haven't been attacked. Just like Steve Bannon doesn't, MTG doesn't, like all those things. But he used it as an excuse to just make Cruz look like a fucking fool. And he did it. I mean, Cruz is easy to make look like a fool. Like he just is. I mean, this is the man that ran away during a snowstorm.
Anyway, you're right. It's not hard to make Ted Cruz look like an idiot. That's not a hard thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, he's the man that ran away in a snowstorm.
No shit. Yeah. So to your point, that whole piece, watching that interview was surprising. To your point, do I really honestly think that I would expect, well, yeah, I guess I would. Like a statesman who is bombing another country to know the population and the culture. Them. Do I expect that? Yeah, I probably do. Honestly, I feel like that's they should know that.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it doesn't matter that our objective was to only bomb the 3 nuclear sites.
Right.
You don't know that there was not a possibility that innocent civilians were going to get caught up in that. And you have an obligation to weigh all of that before you make the decision. And part of weighing that is knowing stuff about the country that we're getting ready to bomb, especially when we are not under attack.
So to your point, we know that civilians work at nuclear plants. We know that.
We have them here.
That's right. We know that because that happens here. And to your point, that's why you're supposed to bring it to Congress, and then you guys all decide as a group. Yes, and so that it's not just the whim of some maniacal dipshit president that's going off and just deciding this is what we need to do.
Yes.
And this is what makes it so infuriating that we're just going to let him do it and not worry about it.
He had to swing his big dick because, to your point, nobody
Yep.
came to his birthday party, and he's mad about it. And he wants people to quit talking about the protests, and he wants people to quit talking about his horrible immigration policies and how ICE is kidnapping people off the fucking streets.
Yep.
And he wants people to quit talking about how bad the big beautiful bill is. And
I know.
so, what better way to distract them than with a war? And then to immediately come out and be like, "But this is all we're doing. This is
Yeah.
not going to be the Persian Gulf. This is not going to be Afghanistan. This is just going to be a one and done, and that's it."
Right. And then to also come out and be like, but we're not looking for regime change. And then to come out and say, yes, we are looking for regime change.
This is
and
what
then
kills
to
me.
have your people say we're not looking for regime change.
Yes.
And then for you to come back on and be like, no, for reals, we're looking for regime change.
It's not politically correct to say regime change, but I wouldn't be mad about it if it happened. That's what he fucking said on social media.
Right. And at the end of the day, like, do you have a foreign policy, or is this just whatever fucking whim comes to your mind, you crazy lunatic? That's what it feels like. It's just
100%. Yeah. 100%.
So this is my PSA to you all. Stop wearing conditioner. You might have to go a few weeks with your hair frizzy and it's unmanageable. And I feel for you. I do. It's my hair too. Put it up, but don't wear conditioner. It's really bad for you in case of a nuclear attack.
Why is that? Does it absorb the radiation more?
That's my assumption. That's my assumption. Let's see. Conditioner in a nuclear attack. All right. It says, in the event of a nuclear attack, using hair conditioner can be dangerous due to its potential to trap radioactive material in the hair. Conditioners ingredients like cationic surfactants and polymers can bind radioactivity fallout to hair, making it difficult to remove and potentially increasing radiation exposure.
Interesting.
So, PSA, don't use conditioner.
Or just be prepared to shave your head when the bomb hits.
Fuck yeah, bitch.
If you have time, shave it all. Yeah,
I would. Yeah. If we got attacked right now, I'm gonna look like not the
Charlize Theron in Mad Max.
You got it, Charlize Theron. Just
buzz that shit.
I'm totally shaving that shit. 100%. You are not wrong. Okay. Anything else on the air? I keep like
on the whole.
So I read
bullshit.
A tweet this morning that's like, "What do you hate mispronunciations?" And it was like Iran, and then that's exactly how I've said it all night long. So you're on the Iran-Israeli war.
I don't. Nothing more than what I've already said. He's put us all in danger even more than we already were, and it's infuriating to me, and yet there's nothing I can do about it.
It is. It's especially infuriating. We're from Missouri. We're not far from Knob Noster, where the B-2 bombers flew out of, and, a lot of this attack came from. So to your point, when it's your sons and daughters, it feels a little bit different. And so, it's like, oh, I love that you're putting us in this situation. Not really.
I would just say, keep your head on a swivel. As always, you should always keep your head on a swivel. But when going to big events, keep your head on a swivel. Be aware of who you're around. It's scary that we have people who are allowed to be law enforcement wear a mask and not have to have identifying information on them, because you don't know that they won't be lone wolf terrorists at that point. So all of that shit puts all of our lives in danger and makes it very scary, but also don't stop living your life. You have to go to the concerts. You have to go to the things. Don't stop living your life. Just try to be hyper aware of your surroundings, because we don't get protection like he does. So he can fuck around with our lives and not have to worry about his own.
That's right, because he has a bunker that we don't have access to. Okay. You have mentioned ICE agents a couple of times.
Yeah.
So let's pivot to immigration.
Yeah.
Some new stats came out recently where U.S. immigration, so ICE, is holding around 59,000 detainees across the country, likely setting a record high as the Trump administration aggressively expands nationwide immigration arrests. On Monday, June 23rd, which was just yesterday, ICE detention level was on paper at least over 140% capacity.
Jesus Christ.
And federal statistics show that nearly half, 47% of those currently detained by ICE have any criminal record whatsoever.
But wait, I thought we were only deporting the criminals and the rapists.
We're only
and
deporting the criminals, and yes, but
the drug pushers.
But half of them have no, and the other half we're talking about things like speeding tickets or driving without your driver's license
or showing up for their own fucking immigration court cases.
Well, that a lot of those are the people that are like, I have no criminal record whatsoever.
No record at all.
Yes. Yeah. On the campaign trail, of course, Trump talked about getting rid of like the criminals, the gang members, and yet we are 100% targeting just anyone who's brown. If you're brown, you're brown. Yep. You and I saw, what was it, this last weekend? There was another video of, people trying to go to their court date to make their case, who then were detained even before they were able to go in to meet their court date, meaning that being detained stopped them from being able to make their case.
So now they're in violation.
So it's literally just you're brown, so we're trying to take you down. Like that's it. Let me ask you this. One of the big conversations has been around, should they be, so ICE agents right now are wearing masks, right?
Up to their eyes.
And I assume they're wearing masks because like they don't want people to
identify them,
recognize who they are. Yeah, exactly. Recognize who they are, come after them, sick their whatever on them, know who they are on social media, all of those kinds of things, right? But I also understand there's like, these are people doing a job. We talked about this last time. One of the things that I had posted on social media is we should all like put on masks and pose as DEI agents and then escort people from their courthouse into the courthouse or out of the courthouse so that they're not getting arrested that way. I am still hearing like these ICE agents are still wearing their masks, not showing ID, taking people off the streets. Is that what you're hearing as well for the most part?
Yeah. And this morning I saw on the news a Marine, his father was arrested. He was doing landscaping work outside of a business. I don't remember what business it was. They said it on the news, but I don't remember. They literally are beating him in the street to get him to get down on his stomach. The man's been here since the 90s. His son is a Marine and he is undocumented, but he has no criminal history whatsoever. And because they're just indiscriminately picking people up off the streets. And so it's infuriating to me. He's using ICE like Hitler used the Gestapo. Like that's what he's doing. These are the brown shirts. And I was thinking about this with the whole thing with like Iran and people being able to pretend, right? And not even just lone wolf terrorists. It could be anybody at this point. You can order a fucking vest online that says police on it. You can pretend 1000%. To be an ICE agent because they don't have to give any kind of identification when they're just indiscriminately pulling these people off the streets. So I thought about this over the weekend because I'm like, we can always say like, this is what I want to do. And in that moment, you'll freeze, potentially you'll do all kinds of things. But if I could give my future self any advice and anybody else that might be listening, if you run into this situation, you first and foremost need to start recording with your cell phone what's happening. And then you need to call 911 on speakerphone. And you need to tell 911 that you are witnessing a person impersonating a police officer that is refusing to give any kind of identification, and they are attempting to pull someone off the street, and you believe that they're being kidnapped and it looks like they have a weapon, and weaponize the fucking police against each other at this point, because this is fucking bullshit. It's so goddamn scary to me that, because again, this is putting all of our lives in danger. Him allowing this is putting all of our fucking lives in danger. And Kristi Noem,
not just allowing it, but encouraging it. Like this is him like encouraging this.
And Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem and all of them saying that the threats on people that work for ICE, the threats on their lives have increased 400, 500%. They can't give any data to back up these bullshit numbers that they're just spewing into the ether. And so fuck them. weaponize the police against them. Immediately call 911 and say, someone is impersonating the police. I see a weapon. They're trying to pull somebody into a vehicle. I don't know what's happening. Like all these things, and get the fucking police, the actual goddamn police there.
Yeah.
And let them work it out.
To your point, like if I had been in, Nazi Germany and they were just picking up Jews, like at the time, you had to be like, well, this is just blatant, bigotry and prejudice. Like watching this now, we're not targeting criminals. We're not targeting people that are causing problems in their society. We're not targeting those people that are menaces to their society. We see that.
Yep.
So there's only one other alternative.
That's right. And I saw something over the weekend too, that said that the majority of the facilities they're using in Texas, for these immigrants, they're housing children and families.
Shocking. That's my thing, is that there's no other explanation other than pure, unadulterated racism.
Yep. Which is what happens when you let a Stephen Miller run your fucking country.
Because he's a clear fucking racist.
Yeah, he's the head
And
Nazi.
so to your point, like, so I was talking to a neighbor about like the DEI conversation and how like, because in their family, her husband lost his job and it was due to DEI, or it sounded like it was due to DEI hires. And I get it. I understand being frustrated about it, about, oh, I got let go and now my job's getting posted for a younger person, or the person that got hired is a female person of color. And again, I say this as a person who has now been a leader in my organization for at least a decade. I have never had an HR person come to me and be like, I need you to hire a Black person, or I need you to hire a woman.
We got to meet our quota. Right.
Like I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Where, hey, we've got a quota that we've had to meet. Like that's never happened. So if there's a company out there that is doing something like that, I'd be shocked, especially if it's a large organization, but maybe it is. At the end of the day, do I see more diverse hires? I do. But that's because we're just becoming a more diverse country. Which is what we're
not a bad thing. This is what we're supposed to be, a melting pot, right? Like, isn't that what? And so what are we afraid of? I mean, I know what they're afraid of. They're afraid of becoming minorities.
That's right. They're literally afraid of becoming minorities.
And why are you afraid of becoming a minority? Is it because minorities are treated poorly in this country?
That's right. Or because like our minorities have been treated so bad that they might treat you the way you got the way you treated them. Like what are you afraid that now when you're the minority, you won't get the DEI hire? Like at the end of the day, number one, this is where DEI is so, in my mind, important, is just because if we don't encourage diversity, like we were in Dallas this weekend and Mark made a comment about, it's so much more diverse down here. I love seeing the diversity that's in this city, because you come back to Kansas City and yes, if you are in downtown Kansas City, there's more diversity, but even in Kansas City, it's relatively majorly segregated. Kansas City, for better or worse, was very much, they had their, what were they called? Redlining. They very much had their redlining. So there's a Black community and a white community, and there's like a road that separates them. And it's very, very clear. Yeah. And so when you're in Kansas City, and it's funny because I've gone to other major cities that did not have redlining like that. And I'm like, okay, well, what part of town are you not supposed to go in? Like, I remember that in the 90s.
Where's your truth?
That's right. And so like, they didn't understand that in Kansas City, like there was an area of the city that if you were white and it was past 11 o'clock on a Friday night, you did not feel comfortable going there because you were the fucking minority. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So anyway, they are scared of becoming the minority. They're scared of becoming like, they're scared of the diversity, and again, I have sympathy for people who were let go of their positions and then were replaced by people of color, women, that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, like you have to get on board that there are more people of color qualified for your position. There are more younger people qualified for your position. There are younger people that are willing to get paid less for your position. And there are more females that are capable of doing your position. And so while it might look like, you know, these are all quote unquote DEI hires, at the end of the day, like you're really getting rid of, you know, you're really just seeing the effects of a more melting pot country. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah.
Diverse
and I
country.
would say too that what kills me about the majority of these people that hate DEI and want to, you know, just rail about DEI all day long is, aren't we the group that's supposed to pull yourself up by your bootstraps? Shouldn't you just be better? Just be better.
That's right.
What's your fucking problem? Like, you can't compete? I'm sorry. It sounds to me like you're expecting a handout because you're a white dude. Like,
1,000%.
What are we doing? Like, just be better.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
Like, just learn to compete. That's the other issue. They don't want to have to compete. They're very used to things being handed to them without having to really justify why they deserve something.
Exactly correct. That's exactly correct.
And so, yeah, DEI is their boogeyman.
I know. And so, and so I was thinking about like this socialist agenda, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. But, you know, the socialist agenda really does not make any reference to DEI at all, because DEI is such a social construct. There's, you know, and adding inclusion in, you know, in our language and our laws, you know, protecting classes, that sort of thing is so integral to just like being an American, where you come here and you're free and you get to be who you want to be and you get to, you know, pray to whomever you want to pray to, whatever. That's so integral that like, if you're a socialist, I don't think it would ever dawn on you that you need to legislate for or against it.
Yes.
It's absolutely asinine to me that like, this is a thing that we're going to make a thing that we are fighting against. Oh, we're no longer woke. How is that the thing?
Right.
Anyway, okay. I've gone off on a tangent. I'm so sorry. I ended up down a rabbit hole.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yes. Immigration is absolutely devastating. At this point, we are absolutely at more immigrants being detained, more immigrants being shipped off than we ever have, more people into detainee centers. It is absolutely fucking devastating. And you can kiss my ass, because a large percentage of these people have never ever had any type of
competition,
criminal background, and an even higher percentage have had a only like misdemeanor type issues, which, let's be honest, we all have. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So speaking of DEI, since apparently we're on that kick tonight.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the goddamn fucking unhinged twat who twatted about Juneteenth.
Yes. Because I have a new website to share with everyone about, and I looped it into this.
Okay. Do you have the twat right there?
I do. His entire tweet was, too many non-working holidays in America. It is costing our country billions of dollars to keep all of these businesses closed. Okay, first of all, my business wasn't closed. We get a floating holiday. You can choose to use it whenever you want. If you'd like to use it on Juneteenth, go right ahead. But my business was open and running.
Mine too.
The workers don't want it either. I want it, but nobody.
No, I don't know. Me. I would have taken the day off.
Yeah, don't fucking speak for me, asshole.
That's correct.
Soon we'll end up having a holiday for every once working day of the year. That's a direct quote. Every once working day of the year. I don't know what the fuck that's supposed to mean.
Girl, he misspelled his name this weekend in a twat.
Yes.
We'll talk about that in a second.
Change if we are going to make America great again. What? Right.
So Juneteenth is now a national holiday that was signed in by President Biden. And it was, to celebrate when they finally announced to Texas 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation that slaves were free. And so it definitely, in my mind, I did not know what Juneteenth was until it was crowned a federal holiday. And I was glad to know what it was after it was made a federal holiday. But to your point, so this is what's crazy to me. So Trump posts that on Juneteenth, shocking.
Yeah.
And there are journalists out there that are like, it was a coincidence.
No, it literally wasn't. He said nothing else about Juneteenth except that. And
Right.
Caroline Leavitt made a comment in her press briefing that day when she was asked about why he hadn't said anything about Juneteenth. This dumb bitch says, "We're here and we're working."
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You work for the president, and that motherfucker isn't ever supposed to have a day off, but he gets them. So, like, I don't want to hear, and it's a federal holiday, so only the post office, the banks, and the federal government were closed, and like, like local city governments.
Yeah. And then if a company wants to
Wanted
close
to,
on that day,
yes.
that's up to them.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, to your point, like we were open, yes, because I work for a financial institution, like we didn't have ACHs that day.
Right.
And I got some frantic messages of, holy shit, all of our ACH reporting isn't, it's Juneteenth. You're not,
Yeah,
So
because the
to your
Fed's
point,
closed.
like,
Yeah.
but we were working, we were there,
Right.
we were doing our jobs. And so
Yeah.
like, really? And so these reporters that are like, oh, it was a coincidence. No, it wasn't. It was clear that he was posting this about Juneteenth. Like, what are you thinking?
And this is where my new website comes into play.
Okay, tell us about your new website.
This is what kills me, is the man who has done so much golfing since he became president.
Yeah.
Who has literally never really truly worked a day in his life, wants to tell the American people that they just get too many fucking holidays.
I know.
Like,
okay, so what's the website that you're looking at?
So the website is called didtrumpgolftoday.com. It's literally a tracker of how much he's golfed. June's been a rough time, guys. He's only golfed twice this entire month.
No.
Guys, I don't know how
we're at war. We're at war.
That's true.
How
and
much
he had a birthday party to sell it to
That's
plan.
right. How much did he golf in May?
In May, let's see, 3, 4, 6, 7 days, all of them on weekends. So it's every weekend.
Okay.
So in total, he has golfed 37 days so far of his presidency.
So a third, because aren't we like 100? We're 100,
like 23.7% of his presidency. Yeah, this even gives a percentage.
Nice.
$51.8 million is what it has estimated to cost taxpayers for him to just golf since returning to office. But also on this website is the Taco Index, which tracks the tariffs and the Dow Jones. If you want to, like, this website cracks me up. So I permanently bookmarked it because I'm like, oh yeah, no, we're going to start talking about this now at the beginning of every podcast too, because, and it's a most unflattering picture of him golfing. But I'm just like, this is the kind of shit that I need people to remember, that while he's putting our lives in danger and he's doing all this stupid shit, he's also out here costing gazillions of dollars in bombs security being dropped on a country that is not attacking us, and in fucking golfing,
of course. Yeah, okay.
But too many holidays for the American people. Too many
holidays for the American people. We should
probably, while we're going to get rid of child labor laws and let the 8-year-olds go back to working in the coal mines, we might as well get rid of all the fucking holidays too and just work 7 days a week and have no, like, set hours and set, week mandate.
He has set hours because he's a solid 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, and then he's off.
Exactly.
Clearly.
Yes.
But we all should not have set hours.
Oh, right. Because
or limits or overtime or any of that.
I mean, we're really the piddly people. I'm sure being in the Situation Room for the last week or so, week and a half, has been really stressful for him. He'll probably spend most of July golfing and not anywhere near the White House.
So all the pictures that, like, Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert and everyone put up were of him in the Situation Room by himself, because clearly no one else was sitting in that Situation Room trying to figure anything out with them, because he was the only one that knew the freaking plan. Right. He had not shared that with anyone else. So yeah. Oh my God. Well,
so there you go. DidTrumpGolfToday.com.
I love that. I will say that I am glad that, the one thing about him continuing to talk about Juneteenth is that it continues to be a topic of conversation.
Yes.
And I read that it
brings
would
awareness.
literally take an act of Congress to reverse this as a national holiday.
As a federal holiday.
As a federal holiday.
That. Yeah.
So really, at the end of the day, he can go fuck himself.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Let's talk really quickly about the big, beautiful blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. Which is what update me, because I don't have anything.
So we don't have anything super, super exciting, except for the fact that, they're trying to pass this bill before July 4th. That's the date that they've given themselves.
Okay.
from what I'm hearing, the new Senate version of the bill has bigger cuts to Medicaid, where I guess there is like a cap on the tax that they can. Well, here, I'll read the article. This is from CBS, I believe, or
Okay.
yeah, I think it's CBS, but it might be the Associated Press. I'll try and figure it out. But okay, more than a dozen House Republicans warned that they won't support the Senate's version of the tax and spending bill because the proposed Medicaid cuts are too steep. Led by Representative David Valadao, Representative of California, and 15 other Republicans sent a letter to Senator Majority Leader John Thune and House Speaker Mike Johnson saying they support the Medicaid reform in the House version of the legislation, but the Senate Finance Committee proposal went too far. Protecting Medicaid is essential for the vulnerable constituents we were elected to represent. Therefore, we cannot support a final bill that threatens access to coverage or jeopardizes the stability of our hospitals and providers. From what I understand, the idea here is that there's like some tax that they can leverage in order to funnel money from, is it insurance providers to the individual hospitals and states? I think that's right.
Okay.
And so like they put a more stringent cap on that tax. And so that puts less money into the hospitals that Medicaid providers use, and then like the insurance companies that the Medicaid, or I mean the coverage that the Medicaid provides. And so we're now looking at a possibility that this is going to get delayed because these specific senators have said they all will not vote for the current version that they have presented.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm hoping that there's enough infighting that this thing never gets passed, of course.
Right.
That's a pipe dream. I'm sure it will get passed at some point.
In some way, yeah.
With that said, knowing that there are actually people that are fighting against it that are on the right side is kind of surprising.
Yes. Yeah.
It's also like, okay, motherfuckers, so you see the importance of Medicaid. You know how important Medicaid is.
You know.
Right?
Yeah. You're just not wanting to go as far as
exactly
you might need to get it passed.
Exactly. The other story that I have been following is, how I have a passion in my heart about RFK Jr. and his ineptitude.
Yes.
It was inflamed this weekend when I went to Dallas and I got to see where his uncle was shot and killed. John F. Kennedy was shot.
Yeah.
We went through. So my nephew drove us
through
through.
Plaza.
Yeah, he drove us on the route from Houston to Elm. We went past the book repository. He went through.
Oh my gosh.
Seeing all of that, I of course immediately came home and then had to watch JFK again, the Oliver Stone movie.
Yeah.
And it just really I'm like, God, if your father and your uncle were alive today, they would
be mortified by you.
Yes. Anyway, so yes. I really hate this guy.
Yes.
So
him and his bae.
That like a week or two ago, he fired his entire panel on vaccines.
Yes.
He then promptly put a bunch I think he fired 17 people. He promptly put in 8 new members of the panel on vaccines, all of which were strong anti-vaxxers.
Shocking.
Right. So Senator Bill Cassidy, the Republican from Louisiana, called for the delay of this week's meeting of Federal Vaccine Advisory Panel handpicked by Health and Human Service Secretary RFK Jr., citing concerns about members' lack of experience and potential bias against vaccines, which when RFK was getting confirmed, Cassidy was one of the guys that's like, are you sure you're not going to push anti-vaccine? And right.
Which pisses me off because Cassidy's a doctor.
Yeah.
So the fact that he still voted for him, go fuck yourself now.
You fucked around. Now you're finding the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
He said Wednesday's meeting should not proceed with a relatively small panel and no CDC director in place to approve the panel's recommendations, Cassidy wrote late Monday evening in a post on the social platform X. He noted members of the CDC Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices do not have significant experience studying microbiology, epidemiology, or it hyphenated, and I was like, Jesus, this is going to be hard to have, but it's epidemiology or immunology, and some may even have a preconceived bias against the mRNA vaccines.
Which is why he wants them on these fucking panels.
Right.
I'm sorry, Cassidy, what did you think was going to happen when you voted to put this man in charge of our health and human services?
This is what we were saying.
Yes, this is Maha at its finest.
This is Maha at its fucking finest.
Yes.
Like, you fucked around. Now you're finding out.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
Speaking of fucking around and finding out, I'm hearing that there is rumors that they are having to hire back a lot of the federal workers that they let go.
That's great.
I'm hoping that we'll have some hard and fast numbers, but I'm hearing like several hundred in a lot of the different divisions that laid people off. So once we have some hard numbers, we'll bring this back. I did want to talk just really quickly about Zoran Mamdani's platform, which again, he's running for New York mayor against Andrew Cuomo. And this is his socialist platform. And I just bring this up because I think it's interesting for us to talk about what does the socialist platform look like?
Yeah, what does it actually mean?
Right. And what would we say we don't agree on? You know what I'm saying? Okay. So number one, and remember, this is New York City. So he's very much focused around New York City.
Yeah.
Housing. He wants to temporarily freeze rent increase prices until they're able to address the affordable housing crisis. Number two, focus on building affordable housing that people under certain income levels are able to rent, and not just poor people, but people in middle incomes as well. Crack down on landlords that take advantage of people who are, just continuously raising rent.
Yes.
And instead, like, regulate the industry more. Support homeowners ending deed theft, which I'm not really entirely so I've heard of deed theft in the past where someone can like do a quick claim deed and take it down and have it notarized, and like then it takes.
You can do that here.
Yeah, well, I guess you can do it anywhere.
Anywhere.
Right. And so like I'm surprised this isn't a thing that's like become a bigger topic of conversation, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he talks about like making life more affordable. Have city-owned subsidized grocery stores that like local farmers and local small businesses are able to sell their wares. That's, again, subsidized by the city. That offers affordable food for people. Fast and fare-free buses so that people can have, transportation. Early childhood and educational services and no-cost childcare facilities. Baby baskets for New York newborns, increasing our K through 12. And then his answer to pay for the agenda is a higher tax on corporations and 1%. He talks about green schools for a healthier New York. So schools that are focused on climate change and being climate friendly. He talks about raising the minimum wage to $30 by 2030. Regulate delivery apps and protect like gig workers, like DoorDash workers and that sort of thing. And then he talks about like increasing our libraries, supporting our small businesses. His answer to healthcare was not a universal healthcare. It's more about creating like a committee of like a people that can help local New Yorkers that don't have insurance to figure out how they can access insurance using public programs.
Like how to get on the exchange and things like that. Okay.
That's right. Which I am absolutely 100% like Medicare for all. Medicare for all, Medicare for all, Medicare for all. But that's neither here nor there. And then putting, more LGBTQIA plus protections in place. So that is like his socialist agenda. I might not agree with the way he's going about everything.
Right.
But I 1000% agree with 99% of this platform.
Yeah.
And I would say that the majority of my friends, family, the people that I know probably do too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The things that it doesn't address are like abortion, anti-DEI, woke, transgender, because at the end of the day, none of that should be regulated by the government.
Right.
And all of it is like a moral and religious issue that each person should be in charge of for themselves.
Yep.
Right. Now, as a country, should we protect classes? Of course we should. We should protect transgender people. We
Yeah.
should protect people of color. We should protect people because of their race or their religion or their creed or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, whether or not a parent wants to allow their child to start hormone replacement therapy is, it's nothing that, in my mind, a presidential platform should address. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or even should a political platform address it. To me, that is a conversation that a doctor and a parent and the child should have, and they should make it as a community. And that's a different, like, same with abortion. Like, it should be up to everyone else. And so this idea of us like trying to protect people from themselves is just absolutely asinine when it comes to those kinds of issues. To me, the socialist platform is, you know, Medicare for all, some type of universal health care. It's ensuring that people have access to food, healthcare, childcare, transportation, like the basic needs to survive in this world. And we make the 1% pay for it. Like, I don't know anyone that doesn't believe in that.
Well, and the few times, and it's been a while since I've had a conversation with someone, because I mostly can't have these conversations anymore because my head explodes. But when I've tried to have a conversation with someone who firmly believes that, like, well, my goddamn taxes shouldn't be going to pay for that. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Because helping yourself and your fellow Americans is exactly what our fucking tax dollars should be going for. I don't understand why not. And these people that have fallen into the trap of believing that these 1%ers are somehow these mythical fucking unicorns that figured out the game, and now we're trying to punish them for being successful. They don't need to own anything else. They don't fucking need any more goddamn money. Like the fact that Jeff Bezos is trying to get married.
I know.
In Italy or wherever it's at. And
it's
now
Italy.
The protesters have gotten to them that now they're relocating their fucking wedding. The fact that you could rent out this entire fucking town. I'm sorry, what? Like,
what are we doing?
You don't
what are we
need
doing
any more
as a
fucking
society?
money. Yeah.
That's right. If you have enough money, to your point, that you could literally save a society, but you choose not to do it. You don't deserve to keep your money. I don't care how successful you are.
Yeah.
What you decided to create, like Amazon. Am I addicted to Amazon? 1000%. So I will continue feeding the Amazon, but I will also continue saying Jeff Bezos needs to be taxed at a higher rate, period.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to share that. We will go deeper into some of these like socialist agendas and platforms. And, but I think I've said it like every week since we talked about it.
Yeah.
There's just so much going on. Like, it's so hard to keep up with everything that's going on and to have enough time to talk.
And now we have to worry that we're going to just start indiscriminately bombing other countries and add that to our shit of stuff to worry about and cover. So, you know.
Well, next time, if you see me with no fucking conditioner in my hair, please don't make fun of me. Please don't make fun of me.
Because we're worried about the nuclear fallout.
Yeah. Can I tell you that right now, 90% of votes have been counted?
Okay, what's it saying? Is it Cuomo?
Nope.
Is it the socialist?
Right now, Zoran is winning 43.5% versus 36.3%.
Oh my God.
I know.
And 90% of the vote is in.
90% of the vote is in. Now they haven't called it, so you never know. But at the end of the day, like, so again, this in my mind, and maybe I'm fooling myself. So please say something in the comments.
Yeah.
Right. Don't come for me, but please tell me your opinion in the comments because I'm curious. But in my mind, this really does give us at least that first indication that a true socialist
agenda
platform can win. Now, granted, it's New York. I get it. It's fucking New York. Like, it's New York City. Like,
do we know if it's going to win in Iowa? It might, if they can fucking learn how to communicate it.
That's what I'm saying. Is like the majority of people that I know support all the things I just said. So at the end of the day, like, if this is the platform that people are going to start running on, I am 1000% here for it.
Yes.
Here for it. Okay. So that is a pretty good note to end on, but it is certainly not a happy ending.
It is not. Would you like your happy ending?
So I would like my happy ending. Yes, please.
Okay. Your happy ending today is coming to you. Where is this from? Maryland. Maryland, yes.
Okay.
So this is the headline. Doctor gave
Okay.
free care to patients for decades, and now they've raised $280,000 to pay for his cancer treatment.
Aww.
Michael Zollicoffer, known to his patients as Dr. Z, spent the last 4 decades serving the residents of Baltimore's poorest neighborhoods, and the family physician never turned anyone away, even if they couldn't afford to pay.
Oh my
He's
God.
66 years old. He told them, forget the dollar bill. I'm going to see you no matter what. You walk in that door, you'll be seen. You bring your grandma with you and I'll see her too. He built goodwill in his Maryland community instead of a massive bank account, a practice that may have looked misguided a few months ago when suddenly the doctor became the patient, diagnosed with a double dose of cancers, renal and rectal. To make matters worse.
I mean, both of those are at least treatable, right? Like,
yeah.
Both of those are considered like treatable cancer. So
yeah. To make matters worse, he discovered that his own insurance had lapsed due to a policy complication with Medicare. His treatment was suddenly going to cost $150K.
So again,
it touches
Medicare
right
for
back.
all. It's time. It's time. Medicare for all.
Yeah. As the news trickled out to all of his patients Dr. Z had helped over the years, one of his high school friends started a GoFundMe. Before long, the gratitude and the goodwill Dr. Z had nurtured over many decades became a groundswell of support. More than 3,400 people came to his rescue, donating over $280,000 to take care of the selfless doctor in his time of need. It caught the attention of a Maryland congressman. He rose to the front of the House floor to insert a written statement about Dr. Z's legacy into the congressional record, preserving a testimonial of Dr. Z's grace within U.S. history.
That's awesome.
His insurance has now been restored, and he's continuing to see patients regularly. But most of all, he's grateful.
Oh, I love that story because especially if he's treating like a poor community,
the poorest community,
$280,000 is a ton of money.
Yes.
But it also just highlights
the inequities in our community.
Horrible our system really is.
Because let's be serious, that had this been one of his patients whose Medicare insurance had lapsed, they would have died. Yep. There would have been no being able to raise the $150K that they needed for the treatment. They would have died.
That's right.
Because they wouldn't have been able to leverage a new mortgage on the house or get a GoFundMe with enough money in it to be able to do the treatment. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah. So that is absolutely devastating to hear because, again, it just highlights how bad our system is. Yeah. But with that said, I love this story because and to make sure that it's like committed into like.
Yeah, the congressional record for the state.
Yes, I love that. Yeah. So
like that's somebody that's doing good in their world.
Yes, that is. All right. Well, thank you for that story, Nicole. We appreciate it. And thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, please like, subscribe, share with your friends, do all the things. We will try and stay on track next week, but I have a week's vacation. And if there's any, I know. And so I'm going to try and do my best to like buckle down and like get my responsibilities done. But we'll see how that goes, Yeah. I told my husband that cause when I am off work, a lot of times he likes to, get off work early and come home and hang out with me. And I'm like, no, I want to play The Sims all day uninterrupted. Like,
I don't want to be
away
so I can,
yes, I could just
let
play
me
video
enjoy
games
my time.
Exactly right. So, but my husband's the best ever and is like, of course I will let you have your time. So I appreciate that with him. I hope you guys all like this episode. Feel free to leave a comment and we will try and pay attention to it, but no promises there. Again, thank you so much for joining us. We love you. Goodbye.
Goodbye.